Hi folks, this is Andrew from Andrew's Gammill Northwest again, and due to popular demand, I am doing another video on borders and corners. What we're going to make today is an edge-to-edge quilt that has a 5-inch border around the outside. The work that I'm doing here, I'll be snapping to the grid, but in your and I'll be doing precise measurements. But in your real world quilting, you're obviously going to move the head around and it is going to be measured out to fit the quilt. But you do need to know the dimensions of the inner edge to edge area, and also you need to know the dimensions of the outer border area. So for example, this one right here is 65 inches high and 57.5 inches wide. You're going to need to know that because the border is going to be created 75 inches high, because it's a 5-inch border, and 67, a little over 67 inches wide. So follow along with me, and I believe you'll get a chance to learn something today, I hope. We are going to start off by stitching this much of it. So the process is going to be you're gonna create the top border corner. Then you're gonna sew the top border corner. Then you're gonna sew the first row of your edge to edge. Then you're gonna roll it forward. So the second row, third row, fourth row, however that goes until you get to the bottom of the quilt. When you get to the bottom of the quilt, you're going to finish the edge to edge, keeping it inside the border. Then you're going to do another border corner setup and do the bottom of the border and the corners. Then we're going to dismount the quilt, turn it 90 degrees, remount it on the frame, and sew the connecting pieces. All right, so that's the overview. And now I'm going to walk through how we're going to do that. I created a new, I don't know why I created a new quilt group. It's going to do it for me. So I'm going to select the corner piece and hold the control key and then hit the border piece. I'm going to click the border corner icon. A new quilt group is created for me. See, I didn't need to do that. I'm going to go, my border is going to be, I forgot those measurements. Let's say the quilt is 50 inches wide, so my border is going to be 60 inches wide. Does that work for y'all? Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Did I just say 60 inches? 55, 60. Now to pan your screen, like I just did, you hold down the scroll wheel on your mouse and drag the mouse, and it will drag the screen. We're going to go with a 25-inch throat depth. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Of course, you are moving the machine until it touches your belly bar. Inner parts of the border. And there we go. Now it says on the screen, enter border length. All right. So if our quilt is uh, outer dimensions of the border, so we're going to say our outer dimensions, it's going to make a number up, 70 inches. When I hit enter, it goes ahead and fills the side pieces in. Now this pattern is designed with an upper right orientation. You can see how messed up it is here. So just click on the drop down and it changes it. It doesn't hurt to try them. If you can't tell which way it's drawn, that's all right. I have the same problem. I just try them all until I find the one that works. Hit OK when it looks right. This is what we're going to sew first. This is the very first piece that we're going to stitch on the quilt. So the needle's going to start here. It's going to sew continuous all the way around. Then, once that's done, we're going to click plus. We're going to make a new quilt group. It's going to be either an edge to edge or a repeat patterns depending on how you roll. You're going to give it the dimensions of the area that we're quilting inside. I forgot what length it's supposed to be. Let's pretend I know. No, I'm going to flip the pattern upside down. So I'm going to say no for changing to, I'm going to stick with end of set. I'm going to change the height of the pattern to a negative, and that's going to flip it over so that I can use end of set. So my registration is end of set. It's a lot easier than place 2 pins. And my height on the pattern negative, so it flipped it over. So this pattern is going to start and end on the top and the bottom. And I'll hit OK. So this is my edge to edge pattern for the quilt. So I have already sewed my top border. I'm going to sew this part right here, which is the only part I can reach. Then I'm going to roll it forward, sew on down through. I will not be sewing any border pieces in here as I go. I will only be sewing the edge to edge. There is no border being sewn as we go down the quilt. Now, when we get to the bottom, we're going to sew the last row, and then we're going to do another border corner. I'm going to walk you through setting up that second border corner. I don't know why I always make new quilt groups. I'll select the corner, hold Control, select the border. I'll hit the border corner feature. Now, it's going to know that this is a bottom border, and I'll show you how. The upper left outer corner, upper right outer corner. I forget what dimension I was doing. It doesn't matter. Lower right, there's 10, 25 inches. Right outer. Okay. Now, when I go to do the inner, go all the way up to the top. And when you go here, you don't go all the way to the bottom. This is how it knows the dimensions and that it's going to be drawing it upside down. I forgot what our border length was. I'm just making stuff up, folks. I should have wrote down the dimensions. Now see that? See how it drew it upside down because it knew when I clicked these all the way up as far as I could get the machine up against the pickup roller, but these weren't down at the bottom. It knew to put the border in this way. So now I've sewed the edge to edge that's inside here. The last thing to do is sew this border. Then I pull it off the frame. I take the quilt off the frame. At this point, what I have quilted is this right here. Now I'm going to take this quilt and I'm going to take it off the frame and I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. Yeah, why not? Because it's easier to see visual, right? We're going to turn it 90 degrees. So this is the quilting that is done on your quilt. But you're going to be, so you've remounted it. Now what was your right side or your left, it doesn't really matter, is pinned to your leader or however you load. And this can pretty well be just floated because the layers are all sewn together already. And we're going to stitch this line right here. And it's going to come out, believe it or not. Just stick with me, folks. So you and I are seeing these patterns this way, but the machine has no idea where anything is. It sees a blank screen like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to go back to your original border corner that you created with these side pieces. There's a reason why we told it what our total length was. And the reason we told it what our total length is so that it could calculate the right size for these pieces. So here's what we're going to do. Click on one of these patterns that was originally created and stitched. Do a right click on it. Do a copy. Do a right click out here, do a paste. You could also do a rubber stamp. Now I've got one stuck to my mouse cursor. I'm just going to make a click and then do a right click. All right, now I've got an identical copy. I've selected it. I'm going to rotate it. I need the start to be on the left and the end to be on the right. My start and end points are not showing. It's driving me crazy. I'm going to do a right click on the screen. I'm going to go to options and I'm going to go to show start and end. There we go. So my start's on the left. That's how I need it to be. If it was wrong, I would rotate it twice. What I would not do is I would not do a mirror and I would not do a flip. I would only rotate this pattern. And the reason, and I won't do a reverse start and end either. The reason is that I don't want to mess it up. I need it to hook in the way it was designed to. All I've done is rotate it. So now the start and the end are on the same horizontal plane, and the start's on the left and the end is on the right. So I'm going to save this as a new pattern. Now here's a little preview for y'all. I did it already. It's over here in my pattern box. I'll make another one. It is very important not to change the size of this. If you accidentally change the size, you're done. Hit delete on your keyboard, go back and do it again. This time I'll do a rubber stamp because it's more fun. Stick it, a right click to get out, select the pattern, rotate it to get the start point on the left. Alright, I'm going to save this bad boy. A right click on the selected pattern, go down to save pattern. It wants you to do a name. I'm going to call it 1-28-2018D border. Name it anything you want. I'm going to delete it when I'm done. Save and close. It adds it to the top of the project box. Just so I don't get confused, I'm going to right click on the last one that I had and I'm going to remove it. All right, because this is the pattern we're going to use. All right, so this is a very important step because we need to use this pattern at this exact size. And now we've got it saved here in our project tab. Now, my machine just sees a blank screen. But when I look at the quilt, I see, hold on, wait for it, folks. I see this. This is what I see when I look at the quilt. But the machine doesn't know where any of this stuff is, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and do a draw line. And I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to take the head of the machine and put it at the last sewn I'm going to put it at the tie off where this pattern tied off. And of course the little spot knows where it tied off, so it knows. Then I'm going to go move the head down the table to the spot where the other one tied off and make a click there. Now I'm going to do a right click. You're going to do, I think it's stop drawing and then exit drawing. It's 2 clicks on the keypad. And then we've drawn a sewable line. All you're going to see on your screen is something like that. That's all you're going to see. But this helps us visualize because you and I on the quilt, we're going to see that. Now, you have your pattern selected over here that was created or copied, I guess, from the original setup. You click on this line right here. I'm having trouble grabbing it. There we go. Then you do a right click and you do apply pattern. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's beautiful. You know what? I shouldn't have deleted that other pattern for my project. You know why? I created these different sizes. This pattern here is not the right size. Can you see that? I can see that. That is why you have to use the original one. I must have grabbed it from a different border group. I'm going to go in and find that other one, 1-28. 1-28. C is the one that I need. Okay, I double clicked it to add it to the project. That's the one I need. Go back and draw my line. Right click twice. You would be using the keypad to do that. Select the line. Apply pattern icon right up here. Wait for the magic. There we go. Now, the line is still selected. I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard, and it's going to delete that line. Now, stitch it. Keep in mind that when it gets to the connecting point, when it gets to the end, there's going to be shrinkage. So you want to make sure that you are right there to surf the quilt, massage the quilt, pull on the quilt to get the last bit of it to line up, okay? Keep in mind, shrinkage happens. You can't get away from it, and it's going to happen. Okay, now, one little point of reality here. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line again. This time, I'm going to draw it the other direction because we need our pattern to run the other way, just to prove that it works. There we go. Don't forget to hit delete or it's going to sew that line. So I hope this tutorial has been helpful. Sorry for all the rabbit trailing. That's just kind of how I roll, folks. Anybody who's ever tried to follow me knows that it's an adventure. I hope it's helpful to you. Turning the quilt is something that terrifies a lot of people, but by using apply on that line, it draws the patterns perfectly and hooks them right up for you. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope it gives you some courage to go out there and try some beautiful borders. Thanks very much, and have a good day.